Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Danielle, for those of you who may not know. And on this channel, we use smart and logical decision making to create the lives that we want. And we are also extremely emotionally intelligent on this channel. So we don't get in our feelings unless it's on purpose and we're gonna win a prize from it. Today I want to talk about why you shouldn't feel bad or guilty about not dealing with someone and their trauma. Why people's struggles are not your problem and you shouldn't feel guilty about it. You know, one thing that a lot of people are good today in the land, in the world of the oppression Olympics, is weaponizing trauma, right? Weaponizing the things that they go through and the things that they've had to deal with in their life to kind of be a defense or even gaslighting you for whatever the issue is that you're confronting them on. And so a lot of people will try to weaponize their trauma against you to try to get you, for very selfish reasons, to try to get you to do whatever it is that they want you to do. I've experienced this in some of my own relationships, right? People will go through things and expect me to feel some type of way or to bend to their will because they have a whole lot going on. Now, I don't have a lot going on in my life as far as baggage is concerned, but the thing is, when you don't have baggage and you deal with people with a lot of baggage, the waters become very murky, right? Especially when it's the man that has a lot of baggage and you're the woman, because a lot of men will try to play into your nurturing side, and they will try to play into your guilt or your long suffering as a woman, or even your patience, and weaponize whatever issues they have going on, whether they have trauma. They'll try to weaponize that to get you to bend to their will. And we don't do that around here, okay? Not only do we not do it, but we don't feel bad about not doing it. For an example, I was dealing with someone who was like, he was dealing with a lot of stuff, right? He had a lot of things going on. He was taking care of kids. He was assisting with taking care of other family members. Like, he was chipping in, paying bills. And I'm just sitting here like, me with my, boring, I guess, life. I'm sitting here like, okay, like, I want someone who has time to spend with me, who has money to spend on me, who has, and not even in a like selfish way, but just like even something as simple as going out on a date. If you can't do that, like, what are you bringing to my life? And I really want women to get to a place where we are really just that selfish and we're gutter about it, okay? So I was like, okay, so and mind you, I dealt with this for years, okay? Years. And so after a while, I got to the place where, and it's funny because people I grew up since I was freaking 6 or 7, 8, being called mean and being called all these different things, when I actually was the opposite. And I would give and give and give of my time. I gave in certain ways, like I wouldn't let people use me, but at the same time, I would give my energy into helping someone else make their life better, or whatever that was. I remember being, in elementary school, sitting on the back of the bus, trying to comfort this little girl, this other girl. We were like the same age, but she was going through a lot of things at home. And I remember just trying to talk her down, and she was like dumping all of her trauma on me. And it was fine. As a kid, I was just trying to make her feel better, right? But I continued this kind of behavior into my adulthood, always trying to fix people, always trying to fix things, because I like things to be in tip-top shape, and I'm used to doing that to myself, but other people aren't used to it. And so I was dealing with this guy he was genuinely going through dealing with a lot of things. And so I understood that he didn't really have time for me. I understood that his finances were shaky and all this kind of stuff. This was years ago, but I understood that. And so I dealt with him, like I said in a previous video, I can pick up the phone and call any man that I've ever dealt with and they'll answer. and I could get them back if I wanted to. But so I have good relationships with them, as far even the ones I don't really talk to ever. But it's like, I think it's very important, and I had to work through feeling guilty at first. I was feeling guilty for not feeling guilty. Like, I didn't feel bad that your parents are sick, or that your kid is sick, or that your kid need this or you need that, and your rent is past due, or your light is about to turn. I don't care.
Just to clarify what I mean about me not caring, it's not about the person who's sick or the person who's going through something, but it's about the negative effects that it had on our relationship and that person's ability or lack thereof to not show up for me in the way that I needed them to. And so I was more than willing to end the relationship if they couldn't meet my needs.
Okay? That's not my problem. And so for a while, it took me a while to get there, or to at least admit that I didn't care. But, for a while I did feel guilty about not feeling guilty. At first I felt guilty for not being able to do anything about it. That elevated into feeling guilty about, just standing on the sidelines, right? Actively choosing not to do anything about it, even if I could. That elevated to me feeling guilty for not feeling anything. Right? For not feeling anything. I don't feel one way or the other about your struggles or your situation. That moved on to feeling guilty about not feeling guilty. Like, I legit felt bad. I'm like, I feel like I should feel bad about this, but I don't. There's something wrong with me. And so I eventually, as I started doing, and am currently doing, but as I started more doing, I guess you can say, more shadow work and stuff. And we all have a shadow side. We all have the side of us that is there to keep us protected. And for me, that's what that was. My ability to not care, my growth into not caring, was me protecting myself. Because at the end of the day, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Even outside of not caring, it doesn't matter what someone in your life can't do for you. It matters what they're doing and what they're not doing. And so we have to realize and not feel bad about not caring or not giving of ourselves when you're not being poured into. And so for a lot of us, it's very difficult. For us as women, it's very difficult. And it was this gray area period where between me, first, I used to care. I felt something. Then I stopped feeling anything at all. And then I'm like, okay, bro, where's the tiny violin so I can play it while you tell me about your problems? That's always a problem. And especially when you deal with somebody who are perpetually has problems. Like, it's always something. If it's not one thing, it's another. And you get to a point where it's like, okay, I don't even care anymore. I don't care who's sick. I don't care what lights are off. I don't care. That's not my problem. What can you do for me? Because if this person is not an asset to you, guess what they are? A liability. And so if you're a liability, you can leave. Because this is the thing. Even these people with all of these struggles are selfish. When you're going through things and you can't be present and you can't be your full self or for the person you're with, you can't be the person that they deserve. It's selfish of you to continue to deal with them. Now, we know, especially men, they don't care. If they're not ready to settle down, if they're not ready to get married, they will string you along until the cows come home, and they won't feel an ounce of guilt about it. And we need to do the same. So I eventually got to the place where I didn't care, and I don't care. I don't care about what you're going through. I don't care about what it is that you providing me with my needs, because I'm capable of providing you with your needs. or being the best person that I can be, I can hold up my end of the relationship, whether it's friendship, relationship, lover, family members, whatever. I can hold up my end. Are you holding up your end? And in this case, they weren't holding up their end. And so it got to a point where, and I think we really have to recognize this place and get to a place where we can really be emotionally intelligent and we can recognize what's going on with us so that we don't burn bridges and so that we don't be, for lack of a better word, mean. Right? Because so many of us, we allow people to string us along until we become bitter, until we become angry, and we become belligerent. And you should never let anyone get you to that point. So get yourself to the point where you don't care. If you're here, you're here. If you're not, you're not. And you know, that's a different thing than, you know, governing, letting people in and out of your life. Your energy is up and down. No, that is you. I'm talking about you being in control. If you want this person in your life, if they're an asset to you, if they bring something to you that you need, that you may or may not be able to provide for yourself, or simply don't want to provide for yourself, then sure, keep them in your life. But if they don't, toss them. And it's as simple as that. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning into this video. Check out my podcast on whatever podcast app you use to listen. It is your Fairy Godmother Podcast, and I use all kinds of topics for kind of like teaching lessons, just discussions, and we have a good old time. I'm gonna start having guests, so it's not just me rambling on for X amount of time. But like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you will be notified every time I upload a new video, because I mean, you have to want to know. Comment down below what you think about this topic and what you think about, you know, not feeling guilty about whatever people have going on. I love you so much, and I will see y'all in the next video.